are back. The time is now.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. Don't forget, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We got the live presser today, a hot one, I expect, all about Isak, all those questions, which I think they're warranted, but not to make the whole thing out of it, but I'm pretty sure it will be. But we might get a lot of answers. Who knows? One thing I know for sure, Eddie Howe has prepared for this. He's not just going to come out and he has prepared, because some of the questions that will come, I'm sure the club, I would assume, the club would have talked to him and said, you're going to get bombarded with these questions. You should answer them like this, like that. And so we shall see. We will see what happens. Welcome, Mighty Wayne, Gary, to on the show, of course. And we are literally 18 minutes away from Eddie Howe coming out, and you're going to hear him live right here on NUFC Talk TV. So stay tuned, smash the like button, become a member if you can, so you can enjoy exclusive content, and you can super chat as well, by the way. Hit the $, send your comment, highlight your comment. I expect it to be a busy one, so listen, if you want your comment shown and discussed, send a super chat. You can give memberships away or become a member yourself if you haven't already. Good morning, fellas. How's it going?
Good morning. Good, but I'm not sure that I agree with what you just said there.
Okay.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that geezer that sits next to him, the press consultant or whatever he's called, if he opens the press conference by saying, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, or lady and gentlemen, I think there's only one lady. I use the word loosely. But the press conference today concerns the upcoming match against Liverpool. It is not about Alexander Isak. The club will be making statements about Isak's future in due course, so no questions about Alexander Isak.
Yeah, I was hearing you say that. I think that makes us look weak. I think we need to grab the bull by the horns and just, as we have been, be blunt about it. And actually, we haven't even been really saying the whole truth and nothing but the truth, because all Howe has been answering is just his perspective and kind of being vague at times. So it's not like, we're asking them to tell us the whole truth. Well, I mean, we would like to know the whole truth, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to tell us. So I think coming out and censoring the questions is not a good look. I don't never like that. That's not my thing.
Censoring. I don't
Well,
think
it is censoring.
I think it's being strong.
But no, it isn't, because I think that the media should be able to ask whatever questions they have. I think that goes against every principle that I have of the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press.
At the appropriate time.
Well, this is the only appropriate time, because the club never comes out saying, "Yeah, the directors are going to have a conference."
What I said was that the club will have to turn around and say,
but they will never do that.
We'll be making a statement in due course. They don't want to give any of their cards away.
What cards, man? Everything's out.
Negotiations are still undergoing.
What negotiations? What are you talking about? There's no negotiations about Isak at all. There's no negotiations about Isak going on, man. Stop lying.
Well, I think that there almost certainly is, because by all accounts they've offered him a contract which he's turned down twice.
So that doesn't mean there's a negotiation. There's no negotiations going. He doesn't want to join, man. He doesn't want to stay. I think he's waiting finally on what Liverpool does.
And that's what negotiations does. That's what reintegrating Isak into the squad could involve. And they don't want to be saying anything in the heat of the moment which is going to jeopardise that happening.
Well,
that's Gary, what I'd be doing if I was the club.
Gary, what do you make of the presser? What is it going to be about? What do you think right now?
It's global news. And these are journalists that get paid for global news, because the more people that hit their button. I mean, I was saying to you guys in the green room this morning, I woke up this morning to the Liverpool Echo, with it being the title being news on Alexander Isak, and then in speech marks it says personal agreement agreed, and you're like, what the heck? So I goes on to the link straight away, and it doesn't tell you much about Alexander Isak apart from what we already know. And it was about Harvey Elliott. The actual interview that we're talking about was actually about Harvey Elliott agreeing his personal terms with RB Leipzig, even though there's no like a bid come in at all. So it's news. So I mean, to be fair, these guys are going to be absolutely biting on the bit to get as much information as they can, or obviously put their own little swing on the narrative that's been mentioned by Eddie Howe. So you guarantee it's going to be talked about because, like I say, it is global news.
That's a very good question, Ginesta. Why am I awake at this ungodly hour?
I don't think he was talking about you. Well, it is what it is. Actually, I don't want to miss this one. That's a fact. And I woke up just in time to get my coffee.
No, I didn't even have to give you an alarm call this morning.
No, he was good this morning.
No. Yeah, I was good. I need this coffee though to get cold a little bit. I can't drink too hot coffee. It's never good drinking.
Pussy.
But either way.
Good morning, everybody out there in the world.
Good morning, everyone. Exactly.
Yeah, these pair are like a married couple, I'm telling you now.
But I think it's going to be about Isak, mostly about Isak. You can argue whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't think you will get to censor and shut the media up. Let the media speak and ask the questions that they want to ask. I don't ever believe in that nonsense. It's same as mods in the chat. People can have an opinion on us as panelists, or as long as they're not insulting, which you know the difference. People can have their football opinions, so please, we're not a soft channel. We're none of those twat channels that block you just for having a different opinion. So mods know, let it go. If it is about football, let it go. If it's insults and extreme stuff, then obviously get rid of it. But we're not going to start blocking or timing people out for no reason. I don't really care too much about the old caps, and I know PDK one time was telling Win, why are you talking so slow? Let that go. Stop blocking that nonsense. Come on now.
As long as you're criticizing Win, you can say what you like.
No, anybody. But I think he got his comment deleted because it was in different. He was doing something with it. But listen, let it go. It is what it is. Let it go. But anyways,
yeah, there's one. Look, Toon Army Oz. Don't call Chris Mexican.
No, so don't call me Mexican. I am Peruvian.
It's Peruvian
American, exactly.
And hit the like.
But
200
hit the like button.
And only 48 likes. So
come on, smash the like button. Let's go. You guys been lacking on the like button. You guys forget. Don't do that. Smash the like button right now. Come on, let's go. How long we got? We got about 11 minutes before Eddie Howe comes out and faces the media. And we all knew it was going to be about this, though. Simply because the club doesn't. I would agree if the club say, we're going to have a press conference about this and that, which they should have a long time ago, really, if you ask me. But they're not going to. So the only chance the media gets to ask questions is when Eddie comes out. And quite honestly, it's like that everywhere. So let's not act like Eddie Howe is a martyr here. He's not. I mean, because
I must admit, though, Chris, there is more pressing things than Alexander Isak at this present moment in time, and that's the current striker position. Oh, look at that one. Very cool.
Hey, that was this Peruvian guy.
Yeah.
Look at that, man. Look. Iquiqueño, man. Where would you be from Iquitos, maybe? That's a jungle part next to Brazil, man. So there you go. Welcome, Alejandro. Welcome, mate. Appreciate you. And
Steve, the Donald is coming for you, Chris.
Oh no, I'm good, man. I'm good. I got my papers, baby. I got my papers. I'm good. So what were you saying, Gary?
Well, like I say, I think there's more pressing conversations to be had than what we already know. I'm from Chile. Like I say, our current state regarding strikers, we are literally not long left now in the transfer market in the window, and we, you've got to ask the question, and it's a really good question to ask when it comes to it. If you think, right, the money that we would save, and the one thing that I would look at is we've got a minimum of 25 matches before the transfer window opens again in January 26. The cost of not signing a striker could mean eliminated from the Champions League, the League Cup, and off the pace in the Premier League. Is greater than the cost of paying above market rate for the likes of Wissa or Strand Larsen. So should we do the deal, even though they are holding the club to ransom? You know, these are the questions that I think you've got to ask yourself. And I don't know why my camera's disappeared again. I will refresh and jump back in.
Yeah, no problem. John here saying, also thank you to the person who gifted me a channel membership last night. Very much appreciated. Thank you, John. I don't know who he may have been. Oh, it may have been Random Access. He gifted 10 memberships. So there you go.
Last night, Random. Thank you very
much. Consider renewing your membership when it's up, mate. It helps us a lot. And, of course, you get a lot of content that's part of the Anti-TV Plus membership. So, well, Gary's coming back here in a second. Smash the like button, folks. Come on now.
With regard to what Gary's just said there, that's why I've been saying for the last couple of days, much against me better judgment, we've just got to pay it. Because the cost of not paying it could massively exceed the cost of paying it.
And again, one thing that that I find out that nobody talks about, and I'm seeing the happy clappers, the bedwetters, all alike. They're the same thing. And so I'm by myself on this one, and I don't understand why. It's because everybody talks about Wissa and I think many other 29-year-olds that we've been linked with, as if they say you're not going to get your money back. You're never going to see that 50 million back. Boki the same way that I've heard that I can remember. And but when you buy players, it's not just about the selling part of it, right? What about how are you? Can we not get our money back? It's him scoring goals. Ultimately, that's what ultimately that's what we're paying him for. That's what we get a player for. You know what I mean?
It's building that next step forward. That's
all of those goals, all of those attributions to the team, is that not money back? You know what I'm saying? Because and then if you sell him for 20 somewhere else, if he wants to go later on in his career, that's almost half of what you spent.
And you've had 1 year, 2 years, 3 years out of him.
I mean, I never understand that.
That's cost you.
So I think to me that should be taken in consideration, and I think that buying somebody that's ready to play is a massive thing, and ultimately we're gonna have to get over this Saudi tax thing and get used to it. It is what it is. That doesn't mean that you're gonna have to put up with it all the time, but in times like this, it is what it is. It is what it is. So. And I don't think that automatically means that we're going to have to overpay for everybody. But I think that this striker thing is only going to get more expensive, because if we were to sell Isak by next window, they're going to if we were to sell Isak now, by next window when we're trying to get a striker like Isak, it's going to be higher and higher and higher. So
Kevin's saying the danger of paying over the odds now in desperation is that it'll happen again in the future. It sets a dangerous precedent.
I never understand that.
This is where I disagree with that, because we won't be in the desperate situation in future.
But why does one thing have to immediately mean that you're going to overpay for everybody? It's not a.
You won't. You just refuse to pay.
You just refuse to pay. You just don't get
exactly. You just move on.
Because we're not in the dire straits that we are currently.
And listen, if you get into that's one perk of buying players that top strikers, for example, like we were for Sesko, for Ekitiki, is that you are not really going to get overpriced for being a Saudi club or the Saudi tax or whatever, because that automatically means the other teams are going to. So we were going to pay what Liverpool paid for Ekitiki. We were going to pay for what Sesko pay, what Man United pay for Sesko. So really, the prices doesn't change much, So it was about the decision of the player. So again, I don't. you might get that if you go for a player that nobody knows, or that nobody is in for, like Wissa. Although there are other teams really interested. But also, we're gonna have to face the reality that sometimes you're gonna have to go and get other players from all other leagues, which we
Um,
haven't really
I
done
think
too
it's a
much.
But
shame.
Moyo was just saying there, too many people have normalised the Chelsea mindset. Wissa's goals and the competition prize money he'd bring should be where the £50 million is repaid,
It's exactly right.
not in a resale
See,
value.
but I get the PSR thing that people are saying in the chat. I get the PSR, but you're not gonna make PSR. Old players are not for PSR. So you're gonna get some players that you buy young, that you grow in the academy, blah blah blah. Like a Lewis Miley could be a PSR thing in the future. You never know, but not every player we buy has to have a resale value of. First of all, this is like buying cars, man. Buying players are like buying cars. You're really not gonna get your money back unless you buy a young player that becomes great, right? But you're not really you're not gonna buy right now. You renew Isak for 300K a week. You're never gonna see that 300K back
No,
every
but
week.
it's like I said, you know, the Isaac strikers aren't born on the trees every day, and I think that is the
Exactly.
reasons why you've got to start being clever with the money. And again, I know people say I don't know why we're still having a look at these Premier League proven players because they are holding value. But again, it's about that gamble with money, and you're quite right in what you're saying about PSR because it is against us. But you've also got to think what the commercial business does for us if we go far in competitions. And the only way you're going to go far in competitions is if you take the punt and go and get a striker that you believe could do a job for us. Now, again, that's where, the workings of the technical guys with all the stats and everything else think they're making the right choice when it comes to players. Because PSR will be repaid back if we can find ourselves going further into competitions than we have done previously. And you can see the growth of this club over the last 3 years in commercial business has been massive. So imagine what it will be like if we get, say, to the last 16 of the Champions League, etc., etc. So if you can start firing in back-to-back competitions and keep yourself in the limelight, that's where you start closing the gap on the commercial values with the teams in front of you.
Thank you, Matty Gorman, for the super chat. Oh man, come on now.
You two,
Fuck me, man.
one or the other.
I don't know why Wayne can't just leave it alone. Morning, lads. Newcastle need to go back to the player market that served them well and stay out of the market that they tried shopping all summer. Well, and I agree with you, and I don't. I think we need to be in for players like Cisco. We need to be in for players like Ekitika.
That's right.
It's a matter of fact. It is a matter of fact that we were in for Ekitika. You guys weren't bothered until we were in for him. Now you can say like Jamie yesterday, who I like very much, that you were in for him since 20 years ago before he was born, but that's a lie. So if we want to go that route, we were in for him way before. So the fact of the matter is, you weren't in the conversation. You didn't even throw a bid until we were in for him.
Until we
So,
told you weren't getting
but
Isak.
anyways, Eddie Howe,
Eddie,
ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Howe, Eddie Howe,
in
Eddie
the
Howe.
building.
Yeah, I'd always say my preference for these things is it doesn't happen publicly, because I think everything is better dealt with behind closed doors, but needs must. And in this situation, the club has spoken, and probably justifiably so in that moment.
And is it still your hope that he can be reintegrated into the squad, even if that is dependent on him?
Yeah, of course. He's contracted to us. He's our player. My wish is that he would be playing on Monday night with us, but he won't be, and that's regrettable at this moment. But he, 100%, I want to see him back in a Newcastle shirt.
And without Isak, and as we speak, no centre forward has arrived this summer, will you have to call on potentially Anthony Gordon to play in a different role like you did last week? And how big a thing is it from him to do that job for the team in what is not his natural position?
Yeah, I think he's done it enough to do the job really well for the team. I've got no issue playing him there. I've played him there a number of times, both as a starter and as a substitute. He plays it differently to maybe other strikers, but that can be a positive in the respect that he's got devastating pace. He's got a really good work ethic. And of course, he scored goals historically from wide. And if you look at a lot of those goals, yes, some will be from wide areas, but some will be from central areas. So I think you can overplay sort of the change of position. I think he enjoys the role. I thought he played really well last week in lots of different phases of his game. Of course, be analysed by the one big one, which is all strikers are judged on their goals. He had a lot of chances, a lot of shots. So I thought it was a really good display from him.
Will Jacob Ramsey be available for Monday night?
Yeah, be available. Touch wood. Of course, we've still got training sessions to go before the game, but he's in a good place. Been really impressive in his first couple of days. Really, really good technically. Very intelligent. I think he's going to add a lot to the team. He's got standout qualities.
Thank you.
Thanks, Reza. Keith?
Eddie, I wonder how you're dealing with this unique situation with Alex. How are you dealing with it personally?
I think, of course, these situations are far from ideal, as in talking press-wise, and a lot of the attention has gone onto that rather than the team and our preparation. But in terms of, as soon as I leave here, I'm back with the team. I'm back preparing, training, taking training, delivering meetings, speaking to individual players, trying to get the group in the best frame of mind possible. So the job never changes. Just the outside perception is, of course, one that's totally different to normal.
I guess you're seeing Alex though, aren't you? Because he's arriving in the afternoon to do his own training, and you're still here. Are you having conversations with him, and how is your relationship with him despite all this that's going on?
Yeah, I haven't seen him this week, I don't think. I saw him last week. Yeah, when I see him, we speak as normal. There's no issues there between us. Of course, it's a difficult situation from both sides, and I can see it's far from ideal for both parties, and that includes Alex and us. But no, when we see each other, we're fine and we speak. But as I say, I haven't run into him this week. He's training later on and detached from the group, and of course then I'm in meetings and pulled all over the place during the day. My days are chaotic because there's so much going on in them. But we will, I'm sure, catch up at some stage and hopefully speak soon.
And with every day that passes closer to the deadline, it's increasingly likely that Alex will be a Newcastle player beyond the end of the transfer window. You said that the door is wide open for him. How do you turn the situation around and reintegrate him well as part of the group?
I think that's probably a conversation for another day. At the moment, that is not an option for us. So rather than talk hypotheticals, I'd rather talk when we get there, when we get to that point, and then, of course, we'll enter that phase and see what we need to do to try and get the best for Alex, get the best for the team, which is always the priority. But until that point, I think we're best focusing on the players we have available for the next game.
Thank you. Andy?
Well, Eddie.
Morning.
How much are you looking forward to the end of the transfer window?
Yeah, be pleased when it's here. Well, let's say pleased if we have what we want. I think whenever you go through a transfer window, there's always ups and downs throughout the window. It feels like there's been quite a few downs in this one, but also some big positives as well. And I don't think that should be forgotten. The players we've signed, I think, are very, very good players, and I think they'll add a lot to the squad. A lot in terms of ability, a lot in terms of athleticism, a lot in terms of fresh energy that I've spoke about previously that we haven't had for a number of windows. So I think there's some big positives for us. Of course, there's sort of one big challenging situation that's not resolved. But yeah, from that side, I can't wait for the end of the window because we can get back to focusing on what we need to do, which is try and win football matches to be successful.
Away from the Alexander Isak situation, we talk about positives. Probably one from the Aston Villa display was the fact that, you know, your two centre-backs, Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, continued their excellent form from last season into this. How patient do the likes of Sven Botman and Malik Chow have to be, given the form of Dan and Fabi at the moment?
Yeah, I think that's a valid question. I think Fabi and Dan were excellent, as you say, against Aston Villa. They were excellent in almost all phases, helping us build up with the ball. Defending, leading, organising, making sure that we concentrated throughout the game. It's been very easy for one slip to have cost us. But I thought we looked really good in that respect. Now, Sven, Malik, Jamal, they're all outstanding players individually, and they're going to give us a lot this year. But when you're not in the team, you have to wait and be patient and train really well, so when you do get your opportunity, you can grab it. I'm sure both players, or all three players that I just mentioned, will do that. And you look at the calendar of fixtures we have to come after the first international break, it's going to be relentless for us, so we're going to need everybody.
Just on Jacob, you talked about his qualities there. Have you seen anything in training in the brief time he's been here at Newcastle that's even surprised you, no matter how much you've scouted him, how much you've seen him in the past? But have you seen anything in training where you've looked and thought, I actually didn't know that about him, his character even?
Probably, no, nothing I didn't know. The only thing I was pleasantly surprised by was slightly bigger than I thought. You know, when you see someone on the pitch, you obviously do your research into how big they are, and then you meet them. It was the same with Tino Livramento. So when I first met Tino in person, I was like, "Ooh, he's 6 foot." I like to say he's 6'2". He says he's 6'1" because I want him to be more dominant aerially. So we have a little joke about that. But yeah, Jacob's 6'1", pleasantly surprised me. Nice presence, nice energy about him as a person. And he, as I say, he's trained really well. But I think we knew those qualities that he would bring in that respect.
Easy to forget there's a game on Monday night against Liverpool in amongst everything else. St James's Park never needs any excuse to be loud. But with the various factors there, first home game of the season, Liverpool, of course, this situation around Alexander, is this almost the perfect storm under the lights for St James's Park to be louder than ever?
Yeah, as you say, first home game, I think it's always going to be electric, under lights, evening game. Those games are always really special for us. I love experiencing those days, those nights with the energy that the crowd bring us. I've got no doubt this will be a really passionate display from the home support. We need to harness that, use it, but not be reckless with it. You know, we've got to concentrate on the game. We've got to deliver our game plan. We've got to concentrate on what we need to do and not get too emotional, but certainly use the energy from the crowd. That's going to be vital for us.
Just finally, any other team news ahead of Monday night? Everyone else all right?
As far as I know, yeah, everything's okay.
Thanks, Andy. Nisha?
Morning, Eddie. You consistently said that your desire is to see Alexander Isak back in your team. Is that same desire there with the players in your squad as well? Do they want him back?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt how the players will feel. I think they feel the same way I do. Alex is an outstanding player. And I have to say, he's a very, very good person, good character. He's a good lad, wants to succeed in his career. This has been a really difficult situation for him, for the players that we have to sort of see us without him. I think they've handled it really well. But if Alex decided to come back and play for us, the players would welcome him back.
And amongst all this, there's the general day-to-day with the transfer window. Is the club close to incomings?
We're working hard on incomings. I wouldn't say we're close. Still have a little bit of time, but that time will go very quickly, as we know. So we're in a position where I think the squad's in a really good place, but we're still looking to replace Callum Wilson. That's sort of the big area that we're working on.
And do you have an update on Joe Willock? Just how's he getting on?
Yeah, Joe trained, lose track of days now, Wednesday. He trained on Wednesday, well, Tuesday and Wednesday actually. Small part Wednesday, bigger session. Small part Tuesday, bigger session on Wednesday, and trained really well. So great to see him back so early. I think when he went down in the game, was it K-Star? Yeah, I thought he was going to be out longer term. It didn't look a good injury, just the way he went down. But credit to him, back fit and looking good.
And last season it was a thrilling 3-3 draw at St James's Park. And you've talked about, these games under the lights, but is this a real opportunity to try and move the narrative on, just a really good performance back at home and kind of take away from the negativity that there has been, around this Isak situation?
Yeah, that would be our plan. That was our plan against Aston Villa, to try and deliver a really good performance and try and win the game. That's always how we try and prepare the matches. And this will be no different. I think it would be great to see us perform in the manner that we did, try and convert some of those chances that we created. I thought it was a great display in our first game, but we need to back it up now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nisha. Written, I'm anticipating every hand's going to go up, so if you can keep it to 2 questions maximum each, we'll get around everybody and then add on Sundays at the end. I'm going to start with Damien, then we'll go to Ian and then Chris, please.
Morning, Eddie. Just on Alex, do you see the situation, or do you foresee the situation being resolved before the end of the transfer window in any respect?
I'm not a fortune teller, unfortunately. I'd love to be, but I've got no way of knowing what will happen in the next few days in terms of trying to get some finality on the situation. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as everybody else, really.
Okay. Ian?
Morning, Eddie. The club issued a statement earlier this week which quite rightly said it would always act in the best interests of Newcastle United. What are the best interests? Are they selling a player you want to keep, or keeping a player who wants to be sold? Through no fault of your own, are Newcastle in a lose-lose situation?
That's a bit of a mind test for me to try and understand, but I get where you're going with it. I think the club has to act in the best interest of Newcastle United, and it will do that in every situation. I think it's a lose-lose situation to a degree for us, because I don't think we can come out of this winning in any situation. And that's why I've said all summer it's a difficult situation for the club to manage. We love Alex in the sense of what he's done for the football club since he's been here, what he's contributed, what he's given, how professional he's been. And this has just been an unfortunate few months that it looks like it's coming to an end. Well, it will come to an end pretty quickly, and then we can focus on the football again. And
a couple of weeks ago, you said that you only wanted players totally committed to Newcastle United. So there's two scenarios. You get Alex Isak back, or do you get a totally committed Alex Isak back? Because they're two very different things if they want to play under Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I think if Alex is to play for Newcastle again, he has to be totally committed. I don't think it works any other way. And of course, that, as I said to Keith or whoever asked me the question earlier, that question is for another day. But any player that puts on the shirt and steps out onto the pitch has to give his all for the team.
Thanks, Ian. We've got Chris, Craig and Dominic, please.
Morning, Eddie. In terms of Alex, has he been fined or disciplined either for failing to appear in a competitive match or after this statement this week?
That is a question I don't know the answer to, Chris. I'm not dealing with it. My focus is on the team that we have, all the training that we're trying to prepare to give our best against Liverpool. So someone else is dealing with that.
Thank you.
Hi, Eddie. Were you disappointed when the statement dropped there was an accusory, hard word to say, there were some accusations made within it, but it was vague as to who he was talking about when he said broken relationships, broken promises. Were you disappointed with the nature of the statement?
I think my emotion was one of disappointment in the respect that these things are being made public. And for me, all of these things ideally should be face-to-face, club and player. The public sort of, yes, it's great for you guys, it's great news, but it doesn't reflect well on us or Alex. So that would be my preference. It always is on these things, but in the modern day world, that's sort of what happens. And I think just from the club's perspective, they felt they had to act and reply. But for me, it's a sort of a sad moment trying to deal with it all.
No, that's fair enough. And you said there that for Alex to play again for Newcastle, he's got to be fully committed. If you read his statement on Tuesday night and you take it at face value, then he isn't fully committed. He doesn't ever want to be fully committed. Is there a scenario whereby the window closes and Alexander Isak is a Newcastle player till January and just doesn't play?
Yeah, again, I can't read the future. I don't know what's going to happen. But I think it goes without saying, if you're going to select a team to play, those players have to be committed in giving their best performance. I've always believed in those values in order to produce a team that can win football matches. So that's what I'm paid to do. But all the other stuff around it, things can change. So a player can be, and I've had this so many times in my career, a player might not be in a great place one day, and a few days later they're there and ready to play. And that's the beauty of human beings. We can all change our emotions and feelings quite quickly.
Thank you. We'll go to Dominic, then Louise and Luke, please.
Hi, Eddie. In terms of the way Alex has gone about things this summer, has he been badly advised?
I don't think that's for me to comment on and give an opinion on. That's for Alex to reflect upon. For me, I can only control and deal with my train of thought and my actions, and I'm not going to give an opinion that I don't really fully know everything about.
Can his relationship with the supporters be repaired?
Yes, I believe they can. I believe the supporters will always react off how a player plays and what he gives the team. Now, this has been an unfortunate situation, but there is always two sides to every story. There is always more than even I will know, because there's conversations and things that have taken place way out of, far away from me and my knowledge and understanding of it. As I said, I've been focusing the last 3-4 weeks on the team, being away for pre-season. So I've become totally detached from the situation to a degree. So I think, as I say, my job now is to support Alex, obviously care for him at this moment in time, and then see where we are in a week's time.
Louise?
Hi Eddie.
Hi.
Managers are really big on trust and being able to trust players. Can you ever really trust Alexander Isak again on the pitch?
Yeah, of course. I think trust is earned both ways, and that has to be a relationship that you develop. When you sign a player and you build that relationship, I place a lot of my time and my effort into developing the player, helping the player be the best player that he can possibly be, working hard every day to try and maximise their abilities. I've gone on that journey with Alex, so I don't think we have any issues on a footballing side at all. I hope I can work with him again and get him back to his very best.
And another issue is kind of one side is going to lose face because Isak is going to lose face if he has to come back to the team, and the owners are going to lose face if they sell him for less than a stratospheric fee. But one of those things is going to have to happen. In the short term, is there a sense of mediation that you could bring an independent figure in to sort of try and resolve this complicated situation?
Yeah, I don't see it necessarily that way, as black and white as that. I think we will support Alex in every way possible. We can't do that at the moment. The situation doesn't allow us to, but there will come a time when we can have conversations with him. And yeah, just focus back on the football.
And finally,
Louise, sorry, that's enough. Thank you. Luke?
The board have finally sort of intervened in this matter with that statement, obviously slightly provoked into doing it by the player's own statement. Has their message been equally strong on this subject all summer?
What do you mean?
Well, to you, the message to the player, the message to you, that they didn't foresee any conditions that he would be sold.
Yeah, I think the club have had a very strong stance in regarding Alex's situation all summer. Obviously, there's been a lot of communication between the football club and Alex and his representatives that I haven't been a part of. But for me, nothing's changed throughout the summer.
Actually, that's it. I'm not going to ask.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to Kieran, Martin, and then to Jordan, please. Kieran.
Good morning. You mentioned the positives of Alex's character. Has it saddened you how this has played out?
Yeah, as I said, of course, because I don't think it had to be this way. And it's disappointing that I'm having to sort of discuss it every press conference at length and taking away from, as I said, the football. We've got Liverpool coming up in 2 days' time, 3 days' time, and that's going to be a tougher game without having any distraction around us, any other focus, which I think the players have done really well to sort of blank it all out and focus on the football. I think it's been a real credit to the group that they've been able to do that. But it's there in the background and it's working against us. It's not helping us. So, as I said earlier, and I'll continue to say it, it's regrettable that we're in this situation.
And you come up against Hugo Ekitike on Monday night. Was there a moment this summer where you thought that deal was close or that it could happen?
I think there's no doubting that I really like Hugo and have done for a number of years. He's someone that we've tracked for a long time. He's got really good qualities, and I think he showed that in his first Premier League game. Very good debut against Bournemouth. He's got really good movement. He's intelligent. He's good in the air. He scores goals. Very good finisher. Scores off both feet. So I think he's got a load of qualities that will serve him really well in the Premier League. Our job will be to keep him quiet and to try and control him. But certainly he's going to be a threat this year.
Martin?
Morning, Eddie. When you have spoken to Alex, has the conversation involved trying to find a resolution?
Yeah, of course, because that's what we want. You know, say it again, we want him training, we want him playing with the team. That's our wish, that he's with us. But obviously he's not, so it's not the desirable outcome for us at the moment until he's back playing. And then I say that because he's our player, he's contracted to us. So that's a sad situation for us. And yeah, so of course, when I speak to him, we're trying to find a positive solution all the time.
And how is he?
As I said, I haven't seen him for, I don't know, about 5-6 days. But he was, when I last saw him, he was fine. He was good. Normal Alex.
Okay, thank you. Got Jordan to Lee Ryder and then to Dom Square, please.
More Eddie, I'll spare the Alex question for now. But in
Thank you.
terms of the strike at market, given how difficult it is there a scenario where you don't make any further signings between now and the end of the window?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's equally possible. I think for us, we are still actively in the market, but I think I say all the time, any transfer has to be right, and for a number of reasons. And this is the sort of, with PSR, you're always trying to manage that situation. So if we make a signing that goes against sort of the long-term planning, we can put ourselves in a very difficult position again very, very quickly. So we have to be careful with what we do. Yes, we have a need, but we also can't allow ourselves to go into a difficult moment where we're forced to selling a player, as we did with Elliot Anderson and Yakuba Minte. So we're always aware of that, and we're sort of at that moment where we have to be careful.
Thank you. Lee?
Eddie, one of the big claims that's been made, it's been well documented. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. But did Alex tell you 2 weeks before the end of the season that he wished to leave the football club?
Yeah, me and Alex had conversations towards the end of the season. Yes, I'm not going to sit here and deny that.
Did he say he wanted to leave?
I think those, I've always said, individual conversations are better off remaining private, but we had conversations at the end of the season. I have conversations with him near enough every day when he's here at the training ground, so that wouldn't be abnormal. But yes, we had discussions about his future.
Thanks, Lee.
You got your
Sorry,
own
Lee.
deadline?
That's Lee. Lee, timing-wise, we need to move it on. Lee,
deadline?
Dominic, please. Dom?
throughout this press conference, you spoke very highly of Alexander Isak, saying he's a good lad, very professional, but actions will always speak louder than words, and his actions don't necessarily add up to what you're saying. Is that something that maybe supporters and those who don't know him personally will struggle to understand?
Yeah, but the two things are very different. This situation is, I've said many times, is regrettable. Isn't something that we wanted. I'm sure isn't something that Alex wanted, although it's led to this position. I'm talking about his general conduct every day, his professionalism in terms of how he prepares for games, training, the life that he leads. He's very committed, he's very driven, and he is very professional. Obviously, this situation is something other people can make their opinions based on. I'm giving you background about the player that I know every day.
Okay, concludes this part of the press conference. Cameras, you can still roll up.
Oh, what's happened there? Where have you gone to? While you're both coming back. However, folks, 2,000 watching, we've only got 270 likes. We've just gone over the 300. Get rid of 400. We can do it. You're mute, Chris.
There we go.
Called worse.
All right, there we go.
Hallelujah.
Anyways, we are here now for the presser reaction. I gotta zoom my camera out all the way. There we go, ladies and gents. We are live here on NUFC Talk TV. The chat has been getting going absolutely berserk, and as you would expect it. So, but please keep it friendly, be nice to everyone out there. And again, you know, we accept football opinions, but, you know, just if you're being obnoxious and spamming free Isak, and you're going to have to, mods are going to have to time them out and get them going. And quite honestly, be fair to all sides. You know, even Newcastle fans, if you're being a little too extreme in your adjectives for Liverpool fans, you're going to be timed out as well, and your comment deleted, because we got to have somewhere a common ground. But we need to start on what some people in the chat are saying. That's the smoking gun. On that question that Lee Ryder was it Lee Ryder? Or was it? It was a Lee.
Which one?
Somebody. The main question. Well, I guess you fell asleep about when Isak told him he wanted to leave, he said, and he more or less confirmed that with his gestures. And then say, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation, but ultimately that could be very much indeed the smoking gun. However, just to burst Liverpool fans' bubble, that doesn't mean anything. Just because at the end of the season he told Eddie Howe, which is confirmed by Eddie Howe's attitude, although he doesn't want to say it, but he did with his body language, that Isak told him he wanted to leave Newcastle United at the end of the season. Which, again, doesn't mean that means that we facilitate his exit no matter what. Again, people have, I'm just going to be nice, a small understanding of how contracts work. And just because, and by the way, Eddie Howe doesn't run anything as far as how players leave. Now, he's in charge of people coming in now due to Mighty Wind's protests. But he doesn't, Eddie Howe can tell him, yeah, you can leave. That doesn't mean anything. It's about the board. It's about the directors. Ultimately, it's about PIF. And ultimately, to use that word once again, words mean nothing. It's all on paper. That's what matters. So let's go on that then, because at the end, Lee wanted to push him more on the question, and Eddie Howe's bodyguard told him, no, we don't do that here. We don't have freedom of speech and freedom of the press over here on this channel. On Newcastle, so you can't ask no more questions, no more follow-up questions, because, you know, obviously he's trying to save Eddie Howe, because ultimately for the longest time Eddie Howe's maintaining his cool, and on that one I think he buckled a little bit. His knee buckled, Mighty Win, but there you're going to defend him, so go on.
No, I'm saying I don't. I think that there shouldn't have been any Isak questions. It should have been about Liverpool. We've got about 2 questions about the Liverpool match, which is what the press conference is about. Eddie Howe shouldn't be answering these questions. It's as simple as that. Who put that statement out on Tuesday on behalf of the club? They are the ones that should be answering the questions. Whoever decided on the wording of that statement, they should be the people answering questions on Isak. And I think it's pretty damn clear to everybody that Isak's going nowhere unless Liverpool come up with the goods and unless we've got a suitable replacement.
Well, but that should be something. If they say that, then it's done. There's no stories anymore, or there is, but
Well, exactly.
But Newcastle doesn't have to say anything anymore. But the problem is they don't. So if they don't, people will keep coming back to ask these questions. So, as Jamie was saying yesterday,
Eddie in that case should have just said, I refer you to Tuesday's statement. I refer you to Tuesday's statement. I refer you to Tuesday's statement.
Well, what happened was, and listen, trust me, man, they're going to grab that end of the clip. No matter how Cesar says that body language means nothing. It means everything, man. It means everything. People are going to grab that, and you're going to see it all over social media now. And quite honestly, I do agree to an extent that this should have been about the game, which being against Liverpool, I don't think is of less importance on this matter, because we're going to see an atmosphere that we have probably rarely seen in the last 10 to 15 years in football. And people are underestimating that. We are going to see, and it has the condiments to get to be ridiculous what we see on Monday. So Scousers, be really careful, and I say that because all fans can get out of hand, especially when they're drinking. So all fans, Newcastle fans,
it's a bank holiday, so they'll have been drinking going on all day.
So
all weekend.
It's
all weekend, in fact, right?
Be extremely careful, and but it should have been also more about the game. It's been mostly all about Isak, and that is the issue. Because they kept pressing until the end, Eddie Howe showed a little bit of weakness on his response there. And listen, he was asked the Isak questions left and right, to where the moderator had to jump in a few times to save him. Gary, what do you make of the presser today?
I mean, it's great because Eddie's answered the question. For anybody in the chat that, especially Liverpool fans, that don't think that we as a channel do our homework, you've only got to go and watch our previous shows because we stated, we felt horrible the fact that the club had been lying to us for such a long time, or not, at least not answering the question for such a long time. And for once, I don't say it's being exonerated, but I do feel as though because Eddie now has answered the question might go away. And what he said was exactly the same as he said about all of the players. He talked to them on a daily basis. It's not something new. What was new, the fact that he talked about Isak's future. But again, we're going from one extreme to another, and I think what we've got to be very careful of as a fan base, and again, the one thing, just do Matty Gorman's, mate, before I carry on.
The thing is, lads, and this narrative that Isak has jumped the gun in wanting to move has been allowed to fester by Newcastle. That's why Isak is pissed off. Well,
that's not true.
Well, first of all, he can't get pissed off because that's the truth. He wants to leave. He put this narrative out. Thank you very much, Matty Gorman, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Matty.
But he's the one that put this. He's the one that put this out. He's the one that started this. The club didn't come out and say Isak is not traveling because he wants to leave. No, the club actually has never said anything. It was reporters that knew about this and put it out. But because Isak wants to leave, and people in the chat saying Isak wants to leave, the club has been lying for a long time. What are you talking about? The club hasn't been lying about anything. If you want, they haven't
stated it.
They haven't stated he wants to leave, but that's not even been in question. That has never been in question.
Hang on, the only thing I would say about that though is that when the shit hit the fan,
you're Isak's lawyer, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, when the shit first hit the fan, my anger wasn't directed at Isak wanting to go and better his career, whatever. That's football. My anger was, why wait until now to tell them? Why wait until now to say, I want to explore my options? And what this has proven, and Eddie has now admitted it, is that that wasn't the point at which he said. That was the point he went public with it, but he'd already obviously said it behind the scenes, quite openly, to Eddie, that he wants to leave. That's not to say Eddie said you can leave, which is part of what he's saying. He's trying to make, Isak is trying to make people believe that he was promised he would be allowed to leave. And that's never been said anywhere yet, because it hasn't.
Thank you, Matty, once again. He's saying
it was allowed to fester.
But what are we talking about? Because I'm confused on the part
So
here. The narrative was allowed to fester. I mean,
yeah. So I think again we were talking about coincidence and everything else the other night, and I said, was the fact that Mitchell left the building when he did, is it because he knew what was coming? And again, you go back to the journos, the conversations, the likes of Craig Hope has had in the past. Again, it's open for everybody to watch. He knew at the end of last season that Alexander Isak wasn't happy and was looking or looking at his options, what he wanted to do. And I think this has all come from, and the reasons why Alexander Isak is unhappy is the fact that he has been shunned for a new contract, because it was suggested that he's still got, well, at the time he asked about it, he's still got 4 years left on his current role. Now, again, you know, whoever you look at, the narrative, one person will say he's on 120,000 a week. Again, I've just found out that he's on 140,000 a week. So we don't hear all of the truths within the football world. What we do as fans is we listen to a snippet of the truth and create a narrative, and that's journalism.
No. I'm not. Yeah, no. I read a comment and I kept saying no. So I was gonna. Thank you, Maddie. Yahoo says your club denied any conversation happened. Lies. Your club is to blame for the situation. That's a lie. The club never say. The club never. The club has denied any promise by any NUFC official. The conversation, guys, wake up, okay? Eddie Howe is not a club official. He's a manager. So if Eddie Howe has a conversation, which that's what we really know here, Eddie Howe has a conversation with Isak, and Isak tells him he wants to leave. Well, Eddie Howe is going to say, well, try to persuade him, I guess, to change his mind. But Eddie Howe can't do more than that. You know, Eddie Howe is not going to tell him, yeah, man, you can leave, no worries. We'll look for a club. Eddie Howe is not nobody's boss other than the people that's playing on the pitch. So he has no power to let a player like Isak go. He has no power to promise anything. So wake up and smell the coffee. Because as much as Arne Slot is a great manager, because I think he is, quite honestly, in a short amount of time, is in my belief, he's proven more with by winning the Premier League than other managers. He's not in power at Liverpool. It's your DOF, rightly so, making all these deals. Arne Slot is having a say in the situation, but he's not the boss. It's the director of football, the owners, the CEO. Those are the people that can promise something to a player. And let me be really clear, like Simon Jordan was on TalkSport. This narrative that promises mean anything in the world, regardless of football, in the world, it means nothing. I can promise win a bonus, but if things change and we start losing money and then that doesn't have to materialize because it's life. So maybe he was promised, yeah, you can leave, and the promise that we can get another striker, but we didn't. So therefore, he's contracted. It's not like you're saying we're not going to pay you, mate. So and that has to do with his livelihood. He's getting paid for not doing shite on a weekly basis. Right?
Can I still have a bonus?
Nah, you can't have a bonus, man. You're going to get a pay cut. You're going to get a pay cut. But the notion, it's mind-boggling to me that the fans really, truly believe that a promise means anything in life, let alone football. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, but that's what we were saying. I mean, the person that promised it, and again, I go back to Craig Hope because he's done a little spin on it, and it's something I was going to bring up in a future chat. He's done a spin on it about what they call the soft promise, because that's what it is. A soft promise by Amanda Staveley, who when Alexander Isak inquired about his contract, about obviously having a better one, Amanda Staveley, as she always does, because we knew what Amanda Staveley was like from the outset. She was the closer. She was the person that was warm, that you could go to and speak to and everything else. And we often said, unfortunately, she comes with the softy approach. She wants to please everybody and not have any enemies. And sometimes that isn't good in business. You need to have somebody with a pair of kahunas that put people in place too. So as much, and I keep saying, I go back to an old adage, you need so many chiefs to so many Indians. And I go back to the Red Indians that way. And for me, that is the way business is. The indigenous people, yeah. When you go back to any business, that's how it should be run. And I think, unfortunately, with Amanda trying to create this harmony within the club, what she's done is created a problem going forward. She's no longer in the building because of her antics. So at the end of the day, this soft promise that, according to all of the reports now, and like I say, the lads in the chat can believe what they want, the soft promise was literally just to get them to close the door behind them. It isn't anything that's written down on paper. There's no paper trail to it. And that's why there has been no lie from Newcastle regarding this promise, because there's nobody at the club that has given this promise.
Yeah. And the club has been clear on that there's been no promises by any club official. Doesn't say that they've had no conversations, because you can have conversations if you want, and I'm assuming they had actually. Because the statement says in itself that we've made clear to Isak and his representatives that we're going to do the best for Newcastle United, blah blah blah. So, I mean, I really don't. It's just mind-boggling to me how people think.
I mean, people are saying let Isak go. He can go. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody will hold him to ransom.
I truly believe.
If you pay the money.
I truly believe if Liverpool pays 150, even if we don't have a striker, we'll sell him.
He'll go. So absolutely.
Well, that's it. Even if we don't have a striker, which is crazy, which we shouldn't actually. We shouldn't do. But I think that if they come up with, because the thing about because with Jamie. Yesterday, I wasn't on the show, so I get to kind of be unfair and respond afterwards. But he was saying that he thought the club statement was weak because they didn't say no sale will happen at all. But I don't think so, because anybody has a price. I mean, I don't want to sell my car, but if somebody comes and offers me a great amount of money for it, I might think about it. So if you come up with 150 million, which is a fair amount. I know that you guys don't want to believe that, but if you paid over 100 for Verts, I mean, that already tells everything I need to know. If players like Harry Kane are talked about being paid over 100 million, Declan Rice over 100 million, Caicedo over 100 million, and they're midfielders compared to a striker. Yeah, I think 150 is pretty fair price.
Well, if they're going to go and pay 117 for Verts, unproven.
Yeah. Especially if we don't want to sell. You got to make me an offer that makes me shaking my boots. Or else, what's the point? Because we don't want to sell. We don't need to sell.
Don't need to sell, exactly. There's a difference. You've got to make it worthwhile.
The club in the statement says that the requirements have to be met if we were able to sell. And so, obviously, the requirements would be a great price, a great amount, and then he could go. So that's plain and simple. If Coutinho there, somebody's saying that they got a lot of money for him. Luis Suarez got a lot.
144 in the end, yeah.
So what are we talking about? 144 for Coutinho.
For Coutinho, yeah.
Come on, wake up, man. Hey, wake up. Listen,
plus add-ons, obviously, that was including add-ons. But I think it was some crazy money in the end, and that's what I'm saying. And again, fans have very short memories. And that was
what, 5 years ago?
Yeah, that's what I said. 2018. I think it wasn't it, in the end? Was it 2018?
8 years ago.
That he sorted? That's what I'm saying. When you look at inflation and everything now...
Especially football transfer fee inflation.
Yeah, exactly. Because look, Wissler's going for 50 to 60. So what are we talking about here? And listen, it's our problem if we don't want to pay for it. I think we should. But at the end of the day, it's our problem. It's Brentford's right to put whatever price. So it is what it is to me.
And let's put the narrative right. Isak didn't say, I want to leave to go and play at Liverpool. What Isak said was, I want to just investigate my options. I want to look at what my options are before I even look at signing a new contract. That, unfortunately, was made a little bit worse because of the relationship that obviously a lot of the players had. And again, I go back to it, and there's a lot of people in the chat, I'm sure will throw this back at me. The relationship they had with our DOF at the time, which was Mitchell, which was unfortunately a little bit soured by his antics.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think at all that Eddie Howe made any promises to Isak. And even if he did, he'd be a numpty for it. But even if he did, it holds no value. So I highly doubt that he would do that anyway. And so, again, people need to, in football regardless, and that's for Newcastle fans or for any fan, stop thinking that promises mean anything in football, man. They don't. It don't mean, it means, and you can easily put it on paper. Because people are like, well, how can he trust now that Newcastle will sell him? Put it on paper. Put it on paper. You stay another season, we'll upgrade your contract for $250, and it's there. $100 million release clause. That means any club with $100 million can take you. Newcastle have nothing to say about that at all. Yeah. Put it in contract. It's not about trust. It's not about trust because there's nothing Newcastle can do to stop you from leaving if somebody pays the fee. Nothing at all legally, and that is what matters. Not a promise. We're not asking Isak. You know, since you got trust issues. All of a sudden, perfect. You have trust issues. We're gonna put it on paper. $100 million release clause at the end of 2025, or whenever 25 season, 26 or whatever it is, however it is. If somebody comes with that price, you can go.
Yeah,
plain and simple. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
So, if it's on paper, there's nothing anybody can say.
But that I think that's the thing. There is nothing actually on paper. There's no paper trail for any of the information that
there
we
is someone
get.
on paper. Isak is contracted to us until 2028.
Well, that is
that's
true.
on paper. That's signed by him.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, that's true.
But you see, I mean, there's talk now that Liverpool are going to come in on Tuesday with a bid of 120 plus Chiesa. And again, you know, it's all rumours and hearsay. It's what people want you to hit the button for and clickbait. I think the one true part about this was there was apparently, again, I go back to a gentleman's agreement that if they was to do 130 plus 10 next year, there could have been a negotiating starting point. Whether that would be accepted or not, I don't know, but that's been heard now so long. But the way it's gone and the way that Liverpool have gone and taken on board the Ekitike deal and things like that, I do think the goalposts are going to change. I don't think the Saudis are going to roll over and have the pants taken down like that Liverpool fan did at the Bournemouth game. I think at the end of the day, what you get now, you know, you will have to make it a deal that values Newcastle more than it values yourself. And I think, like I said, the Saudis aren't mugs. And, you know, what was apparently dealt with weeks ago and a gentleman's handshake over the 130 plus 10, if that is fact, if that's true, then I think that's moved now. I think it's moved on. I think the narrative's changed.
Well, I think more than ever now, it looks like Isak will be staying.
That's definitely what it's looking like to me.
It's because Liverpool don't want to listen. If I really want a player, I would go. I would bid. I would bid because it would be really arrogant from Liverpool to say, "Well, we got to wait for Newcastle. We got to wait for Newcastle to give us a wink." Why would they give you a wink on something they don't want to sell? Unless you make an offer. Make an offer. Make an offer, and it might happen. Who knows? It might get rejected or it might not. But at the end of the day, you know, it's unbelievable to me the things I hear. You know, we got to wait for Liverpool are waiting for Newcastle to open up a discussion. Why would they do that? Well, if you want something, go and put a bid for it, man. You know, it might work, it might not work. So it's a weird situation that it keeps going and ongoing. And I tell you what, on Monday is going to be mayhem. And
it's going to be crazy.
I think there'll be a few red cards, quite honestly. And I don't
know. Your little baldy pal Simon Hooper's in the middle.
Who's Simon Hooper?
The referee that you pointed out.
Oh, the stubby one. Your long torso, short legs, man. How does that work out? Yeah, but so he's gonna be on then, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah,
We'll see. Well, I tell you what,
But
he's gonna have to train.
he's not generally card happy.
He's gonna no, but this one he might have to send a statement from the
I'm
get
going
go.
to say that's the thing. I've got more money going on. There's going to be cards in this game than goals.
Yeah.
Well, that generally is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any game, but no, it's going to. I cannot wait, mate, because the atmosphere is going to be electric. I can't wait to see what war flags are doing.
Whoa,
well, that's. Let me tell you something, man. That's going to be a thing there. I suspect something not too inflammatory, but something about loyalty or something.
I think it'll all be about Newcastle United.
Well, emphasizing on loyalty or something.
unity. Adversity is the anvil. Unity is the hammer.
Yeah, so if you haven't got your ticket, you better. Well, it's probably too late already, to be honest. But some people in the chat is funny, because they were like, people didn't know about atmosphere until Anfield came about. Somebody in the chat, man, you need to wake up, man. You need to wake up, because you got a lot of things over us. You got a lot of things. And I think you got great atmosphere, but you ain't even close, brother. You ain't even close. So. We shall see. War flags.
Bird's arse. Have you seen that?
The Bobby Robson quote. What was the quote? There's many actually. Could be great ones.
I'm going to say there's quite a few, but it's like it'll probably be when you walk up them stairs, wouldn't it? That one.
The smell of the grass.
The smell of the grass. Yeah, and everything else. The raw passion. It's like it's going to be a number of things. I don't think there'll be a Swedish one though.
Oh no,
there'll be no IKEA flags.
I'm afraid those are never going to be used again. Never. And listen, man, this is going to be crazy. I remember the only match that I can remember that might come close is not even. It's the one I was saying about Michael Owen when he came back. And there's a guy. Actually, they should have a clip of that that we can show. But I remember there was a guy looked like Mighty Win. That was it you, Mighty Win, that you were throwing money at Michael Owen? The guy he had some money out of his pocket and threw it at him or something like that. And I mean, but that I don't think Michael Owen would never.
I don't throw money at anybody.
Exactly.
When you do, the barmaid.
But Michael Owen,
ladies throw plenty of money at ladies.
Michael Owen had kind of a similar situation, although not really. I mean, nobody's ever gone to this extent. I don't think.
This is unprecedented in my lifetime. Anything like this, even when Supermac went and all that,
No, but Supermac, come on. Supermac is a gentleman, man.
No, but I'm on about he was our hero, still is a hero because he didn't want to go.
So this is a totally.
It was the board wanted the money, greedy bastards.
Yeah. What was it, dude?
Here's one. What you're talking about? It's not the television contracts, get out clauses, marketing departments, or executive boxes. It's the noise, the passion, the feeling of belonging, the pride in your city.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a small boy clambering up stadium steps for the first time, gripping his father's hand, gawping at the hallowed stretch of turf beneath him, and without being able to do a thing about it, falling in love. There you go.
I can't find the clip of Michael Owen. I'm pretty sure it happened because I was watching the game. So, but I can't find the clip of him. You guys remember that clip? The game.
Yeah.
When Michael Owen comes back to St. James's Park for the first time, I think.
Park, yeah,
and he came back being a Liverpool player.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
a Liverpool player, and I remember Mighty Win throwing money at him. Fucking hell, man!
I tell you, the one that they should do is the one that he talked about. Alan Shearer, Bobby Robson said, Alan Shearer has done very well for us considering his age. We have introduced some movement into his game because he has got 2 good legs now. Last season he only played with 1. That's probably the classic quote I've ever heard.
But anyways, today, by the way, we got on RCM football, we got Chelsea Crystal Palace. So join us for that watch along about 7:45 p.m. Tonight. So we got that one. And tomorrow we'll do Manchester City Tottenham early in the afternoon. That's a midday game. That means it's not televised, is it? Is that right?
It might be on one of the other ones.
Well, isn't
usually
mid games?
The half 12 games are usually televised. That's why they've moved them forward.
Okay, so anyway, so yeah, we'll have that one tomorrow early afternoon, and on RCM Football. So please subscribe. The link is pinned in the chat. Subscribe to RCM Football. We're putting up Premier League content there, and I have a little bit of a rant video yesterday, which is starting to annoy me. Other people putting out agendas, and but anyway, that's.
Thank you, folks. 516 likes. We've busted 500. That's the first time we ever busted 500.
Thank you very much indeed, all of you.
Thank you
appreciate
all.
you thank you all very much. And I'll try to find that clip. I'll try to find that clip of Michael Owen. But anyways, who, by the way, backed Isak. It went two snakes.
There's a surprise.
Exactly. He had an issue with Alan Shearer, didn't he? I remember at the time there was an issue with him. But anyway, we will see you all on the next one, folks. Take care. We might have a show later on tonight. A quick one though, before like a build up before the West Ham Chelsea game. So stay tuned. But we'll see what happens.
Hit the bell, folks.
Hit the bell for notifications.
Less than 10% of subscribers have hit the notification
Come
bell.
on.
So hit the bell and you'll get to know every time we're live.
Before and after photos. Oh man. The problem is which one's the before and which one's the after.
Never had a. Well, that's not strictly true. I toyed with a beard during COVID when we were all locked up, and didn't like it. Drove me mad.
Anyways, folks, take care. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next
See you
one.
later. How are you, the lads?
Take care, Ben.